Imagine your busiest season is just weeks away, and the system you rely on to serve every customer might simply stop working. Sound stressful? That's what we're tackling today.
Welcome to BEC Case Study Briefing. I'm Emma, and today's episode is called The Software Shutdown Countdown. Upgrade, switch, or take the risk.
I'm Jack, your business English coach. We'll practice comparing critical options under time pressure, explaining operational risk, and making clear recommendations, the skills you need for BEC speaking success.
By the end of this episode, you'll know how to analyze a real business scenario, discuss risk and priorities, and give a well-structured, exam-style answer.
Here's our roadmap. First, Emma will brief us on the case study. Then we'll break down the business priorities and analyze each solution. We'll finish with model answers, useful language, and a practical mini speaking task. Let's dive in.
Today's scenario is about ClickCart, a medium-sized online retailer based in the UK. They use an outdated order management system to process purchases and manage deliveries. Their software provider has just announced that technical support for their current version will end in 6 weeks, right before the company's busiest sales period. That's causing serious concern for management. The big worry? If the system fails, hundreds of customer orders could be delayed, damaging the company's reputation at the worst possible moment. Staff, customers, and the finance team are all impacted. Management is considering 3 options: pay for an immediate upgrade with the current provider, switch to a cheaper competitor, which would mean staff training and possible disruption, or keep using the unsupported system until after the peak season and just hope nothing goes wrong. They have to decide which path gives them the best balance between cost, reliability, and business continuity.
This problem goes way beyond software. It's about business continuity under time pressure, the risk of a system failure right when the company can least afford it. If the system goes down, revenue could drop overnight. Delayed orders mean lost sales, damaged customer trust, and long-term reputational risk. Plus, rush decisions could lead to extra costs or operational chaos. The challenge touches risk management, profit margins, customer expectations, and relationships with strategic clients. That's why examiners love cases like this for BEC speaking practice.
It's not just a technical headache. Customers could face late deliveries. Staff might have to work overtime. And finance is stressed about costs. Leadership is also on edge because their reputation is on the line.
Exactly. The timing makes everything harder. It's just before peak sales, so there's no room for mistakes. That's why the company has to weigh every option very carefully. Here's a tip for the exam. Don't get lost in technical details. Focus on what could actually happen to the business. Which option keeps operations running smoothly? Which one risks chaos right when the company's busiest? And which is financially realistic?
So, to get top marks, I should connect each choice to priorities like customer trust and business continuity, not just talk about features or prices.
Spot on. Show how your thinking links back to business impact, not just IT jargon.
Given the situation, I'd say the main priority is keeping operations running during the busiest time, so avoiding disruption is key.
That's the right focus. Examiners want to hear you identify the true business risk and make your whole answer about protecting revenue, reputation, and customer expectations. Always start with a priority. That's how you show real business logic.
The first option is to upgrade right away with the current provider. The The clear advantage is continuity staff already know the system, so the upgrade should be less disruptive.
Exactly. You can say, the main advantage of this option is that it would minimize operational disruption. It's also less risky because the provider understands their requirements.
But the downside is cost. The company might feel forced to pay a high price just because of the time pressure.
Right, and you can highlight this contrast with, although this would involve a significant upfront cost, it may prevent more serious losses later. When is this option best? When stability matters more than saving money, especially under a tight deadline.
Switching to a lower cost competitor could save money long term and maybe bring in better features or support.
True, it's practical for reducing future costs, but 6 weeks isn't much time for data migration, testing, or training. For the exam, try a phrase like, while this option may be more cost effective in the long run, the short-term implementation risk is relatively high.
So if things go wrong, they'd face disruption just as sales peak. But with good communication, maybe the risk could be managed.
Exactly. Clear communication with staff and customers could reduce confusion, but the company must be realistic about what can be achieved in 6 weeks.
The third option, just keep using the current system, seems easiest for now. No immediate costs or training.
That's tempting if the system's been reliable, but once support ends, any technical problem could become a crisis. If failure happens during peak season, the impact on market share and customer confidence could be huge.
Even if the risk feels small, the potential damage is too big to ignore. That's a serious gamble with reputation.
Spot on. In business English, it's powerful to say, even if the likelihood of failure is low, the potential consequences are too serious to ignore. That shows you can assess both probability and impact key skills for BEC speaking.
Given all that, which approach is safest? Is it worth paying for the upgrade, or could a mixed solution work?
Great question. My advice, recommend the option that protects business continuity but also acknowledge the costs. In BEC, speaking a balanced answer like negotiating an immediate upgrade, but testing implementation and arranging extra support shows you understand trade-offs and real-life business pressures. Here's how a strong model answer could sound. The main priority should be to protect business continuity during the busiest sales period. Of the 3 approaches, upgrading the existing system before support ends is the safest. Keeping the old system avoids immediate disruption but risks serious operational failure. Moving to a competitor could save money, but implementation risk is high with only 6 weeks. By comparison, upgrading with the current provider offers a smooth transition. Although it costs more upfront, this can be justified by avoiding lost sales and reputational damage. I would therefore recommend negotiating an immediate upgrade, testing it before the peak period, and arranging extra support. This provides the best balance between reliability, speed, and risk control.
That answer is really clear. You gave the priority, compared the options, then finished with a recommendation and justification. It sounds well organized.
Exactly the point. For BEC speaking, use this structure. Start with the main problem, outline the options, compare them, and then make your recommendation. That clarity will really impress examiners.
If I gave a simple answer, like, I think upgrading is best because the old system could stop working, changing might be cheaper, but it's too risky to do now, would that be enough?
That's understandable, but it's too general. It doesn't show enough business vocabulary or detailed reasoning. Here's a stronger version. I would recommend upgrading with the current provider because reliable operations are essential during peak sales. Switching might cut costs, but rushing a migration could cause disruption. Keeping unsupported software avoids spending now, but the risk is too great. An upgrade offers the best stability and risk management.
That definitely sounds more professional. It's specific, uses business terms, and explains consequences.
Exactly. Always aim to connect your answer to business impact. That's what examiners reward.
Let's review 6 useful phrases from today's episode. First, the main priority should be, use this to identify what matters most. Example, the main priority should be maintaining customer service during the transition.
It's a strong opening. Next, this would expose the company to use it for discussing risks. Example, delaying the upgrade would expose the company to significant operational risk.
Third, by comparison, great for direct contrasts. Example, by comparison, upgrading the existing system would require less staff training.
Number 4, I would therefore recommend, use after your reasoning. Example, I would therefore recommend completing the upgrade before peak sales.
Fifth, I see your point, but I'm not sure that. That's for polite disagreement. Example, I see your point, but I'm not sure switching providers now would be practical.
And finally, overall, this option offers the best balance between use to summarize. Example, overall, this option offers the best balance between cost, reliability, and speed. Ready to practice? Imagine management agrees to upgrade, but the provider says the system will be down for 8 hours. Management must decide when and how to do the work. Your task: 1. Say when the upgrade should happen. 2. Explain how to reduce disruption for customers and staff. 3. Suggest a contingency plan if it takes longer than expected. Try to speak for about a minute. Prioritize, explain, and recommend. Pause the podcast and answer now.
I think the main priority should be completing the upgrade at a time when customer activity is lowest. So, overnight or during the quietest period, as long as technical staff are available. To reduce disruption, I'd inform customers in advance about the temporary closure and give staff clear instructions about what they can do during the upgrade. That would prevent confusion and extra complaints. As a contingency, the company should have a manual backup process for urgent orders and arrange extra technical support in case the upgrade takes longer. Overall, I'd recommend scheduling during low demand, communicating clearly, and preparing a backup. That balances the upgrade with protecting operations.
Emma's answer worked well because she started with the business priority, then moved logically to communication and contingency planning. Today's business lesson: the cheapest or easiest option isn't always the safest. In real business, always compare both the probability of a risk and its potential impact. Your exam skill was structured comparison. Identify priorities, weigh options, connect to consequences, and give a reasoned recommendation. 2 phrases to remember. Even if the likelihood is relatively low, the potential consequences are too serious to ignore. And overall, this option offers the best balance between cost, reliability, and risk. End of briefing.